All right. So again, just stop me if I go over something too quickly. You can turn your speaker on or type something in. So again, I didn't see that anybody missed something until we got to number 10. So number 8, you got step 1, find the slope. Step 2, find the y-intercept, put them together, and you've got A. All right, number 10, what is the line of the equation y equals 4x minus 3? So we know that, this number here is the y-intercept. So I first need to look and see if I have, see if I can eliminate any of these. All these go through the y-axis. Well, some of them go through the y-axis at, this one goes through the y-axis, looks like at -4, so I can eliminate that one. Same thing with this one, it's going through the y-axis at -2, so it's got to be one of these two. So then let's look at the slope, see which one is, first of all, we don't even need to count slope because in this case, 4 is positive, so it's going to be a positive slope. Remember, positive slopes rise from left to right, negative slopes fall from left to right. But we can also see if we trying to think, I don't know why that's there. It's not really clear to see. It must be off a little bit, but I'm not sure why I've got that highlighted like that, because up your slope is 4 over 1. Maybe it moved. If I go up 2, 4 over 1. Okay, let me see what you're. Oh, okay, you stopped at looking at the y-intercept. All right. If anybody watching this video, I can see a chat box. I don't think the chat box comes up on the video. Yep, so there's 2 of them that go through the y-axis at -3. And this scale is different. Here they're counting by 1s, here they're counting by 2s. All right, any more questions on 10? I don't think so. So 11 is A. Okay, in 12 and 13, we're using point slope form, which is y minus y of 1 is equal to m times the difference of x minus x of 1. Okay, so you've got 2 ordered pairs here. Typically, one x and y value is given, and so all I'm doing is I'm substituting in. So I'm substituting 8 and 3 in, 8 in for x, and 3 in for y, and then 6 in for m for the equation. What you have to be careful with is for like number 13 is your negatives. Okay, so I'm going to substitute -6 in, whoops. I'm going to substitute in -6. Let me get my eraser here. Oh no, I need to plug my phone in, or my computer in too. Anyways, I'm going to talk while I'm plugging in my computer. Like I said, be careful with the negatives. I'm guessing that's probably where you guys messed up. A couple of you missed that one. So when I substitute y of 1 with -6, I have y minus -6. Okay, a double negative. Remember, subtracting is like adding the opposite. So subtracting a -6 is like adding a +6, and so forth. Okay, so when you substitute in and then you simplify, you get what you see there for C. Okay, number 14. Again, you could figure out what the graph is, the line is, in a couple of different ways. You can use you could use a table of, let x equals 0 and substitute it in here and see what you get for y. And then let y equal 0, substitute it in and see what you get for x. And then you could look for those 2 points on any of these lines. Or what I did is I took this, I distributed my -2. So I have -2x plus 8, negative times a negative is a positive. And then I put it in slope-intercept form so that I could see the slope and the y-intercept. So the y-intercept is at 3, and the slope is -2, which would be 2 down and 1 over. There's 15, same thing. 16, the table shows the height of an elevator above ground level after a certain amount of time. Model the data with an equation. Let y stand for the height of the elevator and x for the time in seconds. So I can, this would be like an ordered pair, 10 and 156, 20 and 142. And I could use those two or any two to find the slope. And then with the slope, I can take any of these values in, plug it into y equals mx plus b with a slope and solve for b. I don't know if anybody missed that one or not. All right, had some trouble with number 19. All right, this is work for number 17. Some people last year missed this, but I don't know about here. So I know we had at least one person miss number 19. All right, what is the x-intercept and the y-intercept? Okay, so remember the x-intercept is when, let me put a little table here. Okay, the x-intercept is going to be when y is 0. Okay, because you're not rising or falling. So I could substitute 0 in for 0 in for y in here, and I get x is equal to -4. And then the y-intercept is going to be, when you're on the y-axis, x is going to be 0. You're not going left or right any. So I could substitute x was 0, and so then I have -7/5 y is equal to -4. Okay, -7/5 y equal to -4. And then how am I going to get y by itself? I'm going to multiply by the reciprocal. So I'm going to multiply by -5/7. Okay, and then over here, so that'd be -4/1 times -5/7, so that'd be +20/7. That's the y-intercept. Okay, so again, the y-intercept is when x is equal to 0, and the x-intercept is when y is equal to 0. Okay, any questions on either of these, 17, 18, or 19? Okay, number 16. So the directions say let the time values be your x values and your the height values be your y values. And then we're asking for the equation. So, this is like an ordered, each one of these is like an ordered pair. Okay, because if I plotted it, I'd put 10 on, go along from the origin 10 along the x-axis and then 156 up and so forth. So I'm using these 2 points, the coordinates of these 2 points on the graph to find my slope for the equation. And then I'm using the slope in one of these x, y values to solve for v. All right. Good with that? Okay, so same thing here. Somebody missed this one. You know, again, you can make a table of an x and y value. Find 2 points that are going to be on the line using a table, and find the line with those 2 points. Or like I did here, is I just solved for y, got y by itself, and I know that my y-intercept has to be -8, and then I have a slope of -8 over 5. It's negative, okay. And the only other line with a y-intercept of -8 actually has a positive slope, so we don't even have to count. But I could count, here 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 down because it's negative, and then 5 to the right. Wait, 5 to the right. That wouldn't be right. 1. Oh, they're going by twos. 2, 4, 6, 8. 2, 4, 5. (21) is A. Which one is y equals -3? So remember, if it's y equals a number, it's perpendicular to the y-axis. If it's x equals a number, it's perpendicular to the x-axis. (22) is B. Write an equation for the line that is parallel to the given line and passes through the given point. Okay, so we want the line of the equation that, so here, if you look here, here's the line for y equals 5x plus 10. All right, and then we want the equation of the line that goes through this point A, which is 214. It's going to be parallel. So remember, with lines that are parallel, the slopes are going to be equal. So if I want to write an equation in slope-intercept form like we see in these answer choices, I need 2 things, m and b. So looking at this equation, I know what m has to be. I know what the slope has to be because the lines are going to be parallel. Coefficient is the slope, it's 5. So the equation of my line that contains this point is going to have the same slope, 5. So I substitute m with 5, and then y with 14, and x with 2, solve for b. Now I know what my equation is. Same process with 24. All right, I had a couple people miss number 25 and 26. Tell whether the lines for each pair of equations are parallel, perpendicular, or neither. Okay, so we've got this equation and this equation. So what we could do is I could put this equation in slope-intercept form and look at the coefficient of x. So I subtract 32x on each side, and so that'd give me -28y is equal to -32x minus 36, and then I would divide by -28 to get y by itself. So I'd have a negative divided by negative, -32 divided by -28. That reduces to, negative divided by negative is positive, and 32 over 28 reduces to 8 over 7. So we see that the slopes are opposite reciprocals. And that's what perpendicular lines have. They have opposite reciprocals. Slope of this line is -7/8. Slope of this line is 8 over 7. All right, so let me just write out the step in between this and this. So I would subtract 32x on each side, and so I'd have -28y is equal to -32x minus 36. Okay, subtracted 32x on each side. And then I would divide to get y by itself. The last step would be to divide negative 28 on both sides. So this would be a negative divided by negative, which would be a positive. Okay, so 4 goes into 32 8 times and 28 7 times. All right, and then similar process for number 26. We got a negative 1/4 and 1/4. They're opposite, positive and negative, but they're not reciprocals, and they're not equal, so they're not parallel or perpendicular. Write the equation of the line that is perpendicular to the given line and passes through the given point. Okay, so just like what we were doing earlier with parallels, but now they're perpendicular. Okay, so for example, like number 27, here's my line. I got this some line that's generated by this equation, and I want another line that contains this point that's perpendicular to this one. Well, if they're going to be perpendicular, I know my slopes need to be opposite reciprocals. So I'll get the slope of this one, put in slope-intercept form, and my coefficient's 1/3. So the slope of this line is 1/3. So a line perpendicular to this one that contains this point is going to have an opposite reciprocal. So opposite of positive is negative, reciprocal of 1/3 is 3/1. So now we have enough information to find b. I'll substitute y with -1, x with 10, and m with -3, and solve for b. Okay, any questions on anything I've covered so far? Yes or no? Okay, Emily, you still with us? She went and got a snack in the refrigerator. Wait, she lives in the woods. I don't know if she has a refrigerator. All right. You use a tree for a refrigerator, or you use a tree to eat? You eat trees? Ah, okay. Maybe that's why you're grouchy. Oscar the Grouch. All right, number 29. I think we did okay with these. 29 is A. Come on. Something's messing up. The program's messing up. Hold on. Hopefully it'll self-correct. So I think you guys did pretty good on this until you got to 35 or 36. 36 was a tough one. Waiting for my program to start acting right. So I don't know where Annalise and Abby are. All right, so 30 is B. 31 is C. So, just to review a positive correlation, both values are going to increase. Notice all the values on your X and your Y axis are increasing. That's a positive correlation. Negative correlation is, one value is decreasing while the other value is increasing. So you have a negative slope, so to speak. $32 is D. $33 is C. $34 is A. $35. So I missed number 35. The average daily winter temperature in your heating bill, what kind of correlation is that? So the heating bill is going to increase as the temperature decreases. Okay, the colder it gets, the more you're going to run your heater. So that's a negative correlation. All right. Good. Okay, 36. So I got this out of, I think, a homework problem. So again, this one's a little bit difficult and it could have been done different ways. So just try to get a grasp of what we're going over. Whoops. And then feel free to ask questions. So we're given these values and you're supposed to make a scatter plot. So if you're going to do a scatter plot, you need an X and a Y axis and you need a scale on your X and your Y axis. And this is where yours might have looked a little bit different. And so there's more than one correct way to do this. So I let 1997 be year 0. Okay, and then if you see my pin here, and then 1998 was year 1, 2, 3, and 4 to kind of simplify it. And then we also need to remember that, these numbers are in thousands, so 14.6 times 1,000. So that's 14,600 golf facilities and so forth. Okay, so if A should have looked something like this. This little red thing is just a little break, is showing a break in the scale. Okay, so we're starting right here. So from here to here is not, to scale, is not the correct interval. So then, here's my line of best fit. Looks like I've got 3 values on the same line almost. And so B, hopefully everybody's okay with the A portion. Okay, so this was just kind of, how am I going to represent this on the graph? What's the scale going to be on my y-axis? What's the scale going to be on my x-axis? And again, you might have numbered it as 1997, 1998, and so forth. So yours may look a little bit different because I let 1997 be year 0, where they started. So that means my y-axis is going to be, or my y-intercept is going to be 14.6 thousand. Okay, and then you might have come up with the equation a little bit differently. Again, this is a scatter plot, so it's not going to be exactly the same. And so what I did to get the slope, okay, because I'm trying to write the equation of the line, and I'm going to put it in slope-intercept form. So I took two x and y values, or two coordinates that appeared to be both on the same line. But anyways, it's a scatter plot, so trying to represent the data the best I could, or we can. And so my slope, when I subtract it, is 0.3 over 1. 0.3 is 1/3. So we got 1/3 over 1, which is 1/3. The book gave the answer as 0.28. Okay, the slope. All right, so B is write an equation that models a number. So I've got M, and then since I made 1997 year 0, I know what my y-intercept is. It's 14.6, okay? So my equation would be y is equal to 1/3 x plus 14.6, or 14,600. Okay, so what gets a little tricky is the rate. All right. C says that about what rate did the number of golf facilities change during the period? And I taught you, okay, the slope is the rate. All right, which we have as 1/3. But what you have to remember is that that 1, our scales are different. On the x-axis, we're counting by ones. On the y-axis, we're counting by, thousands. Okay. So this is like 1,000/3, which would be about 333. So about what rate did the number of golf facilities change during that period? About 1 to 3. 1,000 facilities for every 3 years. Okay, which would be about 333 per year. And then it says predict the year in which the number of golf facilities reached 16,000. So what I did is I took my equation, and remember y represents the number of years. So I substituted y with, y represents the number of facilities. X represents the number of years. So I substituted y with 16, and I solved for x. And I saw that we would be about, if this equation was correct, in about 4.2 years, we would be at 16,000 facilities. Okay, so predict a year in which the number of golf facilities reached 16,000, started with 1997. So I added 4.2, and that's 2001.2. So we got to round up. Okay, we got to round up to 2002, because we know we're at 15.7 for 2001. All right. So I don't plan on testing you on a problem like this, but hopefully you got the concepts behind that. All right, so any questions on the practice test or what's coming up? I'll have to send out an email to you later about the details of the semester exam on Friday, a week from this Friday. But for now, you got the Chapter 5 test and the semester exam practice test to be working on. Can we use a calculator in the exam? Definitely. All right, anything else? All right, well, you guys are awesome, and holler if you need any help, and I will talk at you later. Have a good day.